switch on over. Alrighty, everyone should be able to hear us and see us and all
Yeah,
those
but
wonderful
Scott,
things.
I'll send you photos of the cars when the NDA expires.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
Oh my god.
Wow, that was
the sound
that
bell.
was
Yeah.
what's the word for
Jarring.
Loud as
gain
fuck.
maxing? Not in the way of like you're maxing
Yeah.
your gains, but in the way that you maxed out your gain bar.
Well, you know who is maxing their gains? It's Scott. I'm just gonna
God.
I'm just gonna put you out there, Scott. No, you've been working out. I'm good. I'm happy for you. You've been consistent,
yeah.
and that's what matters.
I will admit that I've been on vacation a lot this week, so I worked out on
Nah.
Monday, and then after that it was
Listen,
Cape May, and then the next day was
going
Rehoboth.
to the
Bethany.
beach is a workout. Walking
really
on sand is a
Also-
workout.
I was saying that
Um,
yesterday.
I don't know if I told y'all this, but I'm actually down to about 160 to 165 pounds now.
Wow,
That's great.
nice.
You.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I think I've lost less overall than you, but I don't know, how far have you moved so far? If you
Me?
mind saying, you don't have
No,
to.
I don't. I lost just over 40, so like 41,
Nice.
42.
Oh, okay.
That's amazing.
So we're
honey.
very similar. I lost about 40 over the course of a year and a half. Scott did it in a shorter period of time. So props to you. You've been working hard on that. But I'm getting healthy too. So high five, Scott. We're on that health journey.
Yeah. Worrying about our health.
Health.
HELTH, health.
Ezra's
Yep.
fucking dying in the fucking background. Working
Just
on our
meeting
health.
there, Mike fucking hitting the bong and just hacking up their
This
their
is
lungs.
working on my health.
In all fairness, kind of same. Darren and I got really, really special gummies, and they're really nice.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
when we were in Jersey, because it's legal there, and
Yes.
they really, really have helped me to sleep, and
Mm.
I'm really
I'm
thankful
so
for them.
happy.
They put me to sleep early. I woke up. Put it this way: I woke up at 8:30 today, and that was like a full 8 hours of sleep. So
Ooh, good shit.
It's so funny that you said that. The last time that you guys were over here, I literally have everything I need. Shouldn't be saying this on live stream. I am a PA medical holder. I'm allowed to do this. I have everything you need. I need to make gummies. I could make them for you, and that'd be fun.
that would be nice.
Yay.
Although I also realized, a friend of mine, who has never smoked ever or has ever imbibed in any way, was like, given your neuroses, your diagnoses and everything, you could. And I was like, I very much could. Yes. The only problem is that I have a doctor who won't. Just they didn't get, because the doctors have to have a license to give you the card, and it's really just a matter of signing up for it kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
it's really a phone call.
yeah,
most of the
they
time.
kind of refuse to, a lot of them. No, there are some that I could go to. I just haven't felt. Well, now you
Talk
can
to
go
Rue.
online. I know.
Yeah.
I can point you directly. So the whole thing, because you're seeing, I would say, because you're seeing someone currently, if she is not accepting of that kind of treatment, I wouldn't suggest trying to go through her or anything like that, or even telling her, because I've had horrible, I told you about previous experiences where they tried to put me on a narcotic in order to not have me smoke weed. But you can just I can give you a phone number, you call them, you give them your information, you pay, it's like $75. I'll literally pay it for you if you really wanted it. And they give you your cards in the mail 2 weeks later. You don't have to handing out a weed card. Yes, you need to be a medical doctor, but there are medical doctors out there that do it for way cheaper than when I entered the program 4 years ago.
That sounds.
Can I just say how fucking ridiculous it is that they're like, hey, we don't want you smoking weed. We'd rather you take something from a pharmacological or like a pharmacology and, potentially fuck up your liver and have other life-changing and, potentially fatal issues because you're not using that dirty fucking plant medicine, okay?
Seriously, and the hilarious part about that, the drug that they were recommending me was, and I remember this because it was gabapentin. Guess what? Gabapentin don't do shit for my anxiety. I was subscribed. I was prescribed it for my restless leg syndrome. It didn't do anything for that either. It's a useless drug to me.
Kind of, well, according to a lot of research, it's a useless drug for everything. Gabapentin is
Really?
like,
Sugar
yeah,
people.
they keep pushing it for people with diabetes and stuff, but a lot of the current research is pretty much showing that it might as well be a sugar pill.
Wow.
It really isn't doing much. There are some people who respond to it really good, but it's the sample size seems to be so small that it's just kind of like why. And but the thing is too, it's weird is that because it's kind of this new and popular thing, they're like pushing it really hard. And when doctors push certain drugs, sometimes they do this thing where like they'll get like a I don't want to call it kickback, but they'll get money. Yeah,
They
they
get a
will.
No,
Yeah,
that's
kickback.
they'll get money
exactly what
for
it is. That is
pushing.
exactly what it is.
Right. Well, yeah, but because kickback comes with like this idea of like underhanded.
They try
sort
and
of
dress
like,
it up, but it's a
right.
fucking
It's
kickback.
just a legal kickback, right? Like it's just they're getting money for pushing a
A
certain
legal
drug. That's
kickback
illegal.
is called a commission.
Right. Thank you. Words. So yeah, that's the thing. But also too, I mean, I can guarantee you from growing up in the medical community my whole life, there are doctors who also just get kickbacks, like money slid under the table kind of thing. So yeah.
Forever. I remember being a wee 18-year-old girl walking into my medical, my OBGYN that is run by the Catholics, and even they had deals. The whole reason I went on that the birth control that's like 3 months worth, whole reason I went on that was because they were like, we'll give you like 6 months worth of free samples. I'm like, sure.
Depot.
It wasn't the depot, actually. It was a pill form. It was the one that you took a pill for 3 months and you only had a period. You had for a year, basically.
That's what's up.
But yeah, they pushed that.
Yeah, free
Apparently,
samples.
I'm really well versed in birth control. As a lot of people don't always know about like depot or IUD or like a whole bunch of different things, and you'll mention it and they'll be like, "What are you talking about, an IUD?"
I have had every single one, so I love talking about all the preventative measures you can use to not get pregnant in this horrible society.
Just wait, they're coming for birth control too.
Oh, I know. I was one of the first. I was in line when Trump was elected. I'm like, put that IUD in my body. I don't care. I don't need no drugs. I drove myself. I had nothing.
Fucking
They just shoved it up there. And I was like, thank you.
Just fucking raw dog it and cut them fallopian tubes up and fucking tie the ends and call it a day, bud. Fuck. Y'all want to fucking make y'all want to make it fucking illegal to have abortion? Guess what? Ain't nobody gonna be having fucking kids no more then, dumbasses. Y'all understand the opposite effect. Anyways, let's not make this episode about birth control. It's like a fucking issue.
I have seen.
Everybody knows.
Well, I've seen the articles, like the headlines. I'm sure we've all seen them too. Like millennials aren't having children, and the world is fucked because millennials aren't reproducing. Whatever, we ruin everything. It's fine. We're used to it.
It's everyone.
Also,
all our fault.
I'll take it.
I'm totally gonna grab attention for a second. I don't know if y'all bitches noticed, but my hair is fucking green.
Your hair is green at the bottom.
Beautiful. I wanted to comment on your whole fit. You're looking fabulous.
I know. I noticed. I was like, we don't often get to see you on
green and pink
camera.
are a hell of a compliment color. Yeah, I'm trying to do it more. It's often the reason you don't see me on camera is because I'm often on a late night schedule, staying up, being a sweaty video game player, and fucking sleeping in until like 11 a.m. or whatever. And then we only got a couple hours between like waking up and getting ready and showing on podcasts. Nobody wants to show up on podcasts in gremlin mode, right? But I've been working, right? For my Tuesday shift last week, I had to wake up at fucking 2 a.m. That is not an exaggeration. 2 a.m. was when my alarm was set. And I had to leave my house at 3 o'clock, giving myself a 1 hour get ready window because that was like your leave day. And it's not just like a go to work that day kind of leave day. It was like you're going to be out of town for 3 days. So make sure you bring your entire fucking backpack and everything you possibly fucking need so you don't fuck yourself. And of course, some of my shit just goes missing on the way over that I can't find anymore, like my 2-pin adapter that I need for my walkie. anyways, long story short, I am on the fucking AM cycle now. So like my body pretty much is like, time to get up, asshole, at like fucking 6 a.m. every day. And it doesn't matter if I went to bed at like 3 a.m. like I did for the past 2 days because I've been out partying, yay pride. It'll literally just be like, bitch, get up. You fucking trained me for this. Get up. And I'm like, no, no.
Yeah, I feel like my current sleep is like 6 hours. From the time that I fall asleep to the time that I wake up, it's a 6 hour timer. Sometimes it's like 5. If it's any less than 5, I'm pretty grumpy. But it's just my body. It's just I can't really sleep past that 6 hour mark, and I just can't do it.
And we don't
Yeah,
self-diagnose.
not everybody's wired in that. Not everybody's wired in that sleep in kind of way, right? Like some people really are like kind of okay on a 5-hour cycle, and that's not like a problem. Like I can actually totally survive on 5 hours and not feel fucked up when I'm working on a crazy film schedule. I know for a fact if I get under 5, I am absolutely screwed,
Yeah.
and there's no coming back from that.
Yeah, under 5 is a nap.
No,
Most
but
people need 6 hours. It's not like I'm like crazy sleep less. It's 1 hour, right?
Hmm.
But it makes a fucking difference.
What were you saying, Ro?
But anyways, enough about
no, I was just
schedules.
saying we not like we self-diagnose on this channel, but no, as you were saying, Sophia, there is actually I looked it up because he does not nap.
Yeah, I don't
He
nap.
will go all day. He will just wake up and he will start working and he won't stop working. And even when he was a baby, he didn't take naps. And there is actually like there's like a 1 to 2% of the population that literally have a different set of genomes that they don't need more than 6 hours of sleep a night. And I really do think he falls
Yeah,
into that
that's my
category.
family too.
Yeah, it's like it's a thing.
My whole
and-
family knows that we all usually only sleep like 5 to 6 hours. Like everybody's like, "Why are y'all sleeping so short?" And we're like, "Why are y'all sleeping so long?"
Yeah, and my dad is like that. Like my dad's on like kind of like the 4 a.m. sort of wake up schedule. I'm kind of more like 5-6
AM
a.m.
grind.
is my usual.
Yeah.
If I'm waking up at 4, I'm like 4's a little
Everybody's got
early
their
for
time.
me. Yeah, but usually 5-6. If I sleep until 7, I'm like, oh, I slept in. You know, slept in
I was gonna
late.
say we all agree 7 is sleeping in though.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, and if it's 8, I'm like, oh god,
Oh
the day's
man.
over. You know, if I wake up at 8 in the morning, I'm like, well,
If it's
day's
10,
gone.
oh man, I'm fucked.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
But
don't
that's
talk to
actually
me
kind of the nice
until
thing about
tomorrow.
waking up. Like I'm just gonna throw this out there. Dawn, like when it's like starting out dark and you have like that band of color rising across the horizon, and then like the clouds change from like deep pink red to like orange, like there's almost purple hues in there, like, and then like it comes alive in a very similar way to like the golden hour, but it almost feels like it's longer than the golden hour. You know what I mean? Like at sunset.
Yeah, like the corner of
And
my
it's just it's
porch.
so beautiful.
The corner of my porch faces east. So my house pretty much faces east. So I get like that morning sun like coming in. So I go like right out on the porch and like the sun's just coming up and I'm like, oh, that's just really nice. But also that's just what wakes me up in the morning because I'm like, oh god, the sun like you start to see that, especially in the summertime, like that brightness really creeps in pretty early in the day. What about you, Scott? What's been your cycle? What's your current schedule?
So I'm actually, I don't know. I think in general I'm getting a little bit better. I've been going to sleep a little like my early. Keeping in mind I'm always a night owl and will always be. Even when I'm doing well, the earliest is like 1:30.
Oh wow.
And I still can get a great night's sleep and I wake up fine. But there are times where obviously having neuroses, your sleep can be impacted in different ways. No, I've actually been pretty good though. I've been getting up around being at home. I've been getting up around like 9:30 a.m., which is really good for me versus like my usual 10:30. So that's pretty good. I've actually been doing pretty good, like all in all, with my sleep. But that's just because I've been, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm more active, maybe it's because I'm doing more.
Activity really does help. It so does.
Yeah.
So on
So that's
top of all
probably
the
what's
working
happening.
out, are you like super strict about your diet right now, or not super? Are you more just focused on the working out
I'm
part?
now. I don't know how everyone's gonna feel about it, but
Hmm.
I'm practicing this thing that's being called intuitive eating.
Hmm.
Um,
Eat when you're
Ooh.
hungry.
the idea is that it takes a little bit of like calorie counting. So it's not like just like off the seat of your pants, just whatever, but it's kind of like number the whole point of it is to learn how to have a really good healthy relationship with food
Hmm.
and to stop labeling any food as good and bad food.
Hmm.
All food is
Mhm.
nourishment, right?
Right.
You have to understand that all food is nourishment. And when I say all food is nourishment, I am talking about the candy bar and I am also talking about the Whopper from McDonald's.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it also talks about being realistic about like science. So this whole like how like we go through these fads of like nut oils are all bad for you, and then like
Yeah.
when we start talking about like
Sugar
this
is
really
cancer.
flimsy, right, we start talking about all this like really flimsy bullshit science.
Yeah.
um it's also very much anti that, right? It's very much like be realistic about food, don't moralize food, don't put ridiculous bullshit onto food. Food is just nourishment, and
Yeah.
You
you
need
know what you need,
calories.
and right.
Mm.
You eat what you need, and you don't what you don't. You make sure that you're focusing on roughage and protein, so like greens and protein. But also you need carbs because your brain kind of really needs carbohydrates to just do what it
Mhm.
does. So carbs are not a villain. Uh, Definitely eat carbs. And you make sure that you have a fully balanced diet and you don't exceed the calories in, calories out. As long as you know what your calorie allotment is and you're eating sufficiently and you're eating enough protein, you're gonna lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. That makes sense, and that's kind of similar to what I was doing. I'm just like eating less overall because honestly, I don't need a ton of food. I'm relatively not the biggest person height wise. I'm like 5'7.5". I'm 173 centimeters, whatever that translates to in American. Go for it and
Mm.
find it out. But I'm not like
Math.
super tall. I don't have like super big muscles, so I don't burn a lot of energy over the course of the day, just like passively. Unless I'm working, then I really work up an appetite, right? So like even when I'm working, I'll eat far less than people, and they'll always comment and be like, "Are you okay? Are you gonna eat more?" I'm like, I just kind of don't need as much, and I like really trust my body to tell me what I need. Like I've been doing it for a long time, and it's kind of like it'll let me know when like I need carbs or like I need meat or I need vegetables. I very often still always just need to eat vegetables
That's what
regardless.
it really
And in
comes
fact,
down
it's
to.
actually
Like,
the bulk of my diet.
yeah, just eat more vegetables, drink
But
more
like
water. You
realistically,
might feel a little
when you
better.
I mean, like I have a
Seriously, people.
fucking not to make this the fucking health episode because I guess
Eh,
we're talking about like sleep schedules and all of that. But like, let me show you what I got for water. It's like a
there
full
are.
fucking gallon jug,
Yeah,
steel wall, son of a bitch. And like,
it's my
I cracked
skincare
through
routine.
more than
It's
one of
water
these workday.
as I drink
Right.
Dr Pepper.
To be clear, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking a whole gallon every time because the trick with these fuckers is you fill them like 50 to 75% ice, depending on how close you are to a water source or an ice source. The further you are, the more you want to stack ice into it because your ice will melt and you can always add water. But if you can't find ice, you have to basically fill it all with ice and then just drink the water as you add it because you can always add a cold water bottle to it and it'll go on. Like this is a real hot trick for not dying in the heat because like I have to do physical manual labor in desert conditions and really humid hot conditions. Like over here in Toronto, last week when we were having a heat dome. There was like a UV index warning, and we had high humidity because it had been storming. I'm not
Yeah.
shitting you. It was at 101 degrees Fahrenheit with fucking like 70 something percent humidity. It was like literally you can die if you're not careful weather. The real trick is to constantly be ingesting cold stuff because it cools you down at your core, right? Anybody who's like worked in the desert will tell you drink fucking cold stuff. If you're getting overheated, get a freezy, put it inside you because it's the best place to be. It'll cool you from the core. and drink your fucking water. Try to cut down on the sugar. Like, I know the biggest thing for me is eating junk food. That fucks me up because
Yeah.
like when you find vegetables that you like, you're going to enjoy eating them, and your body's always going to go back to it. Like, I am a fucking slut for corn on the cob and broccoli and like rice
Corn
and just like really plain shit that's
is
just like super fucking good and nourishing.
corn is debatable as a vegetable, I think. It's all sugar.
Fruits and vegetables. No,
As a diabetic, I would disagree that corn
Yeah,
is
well,
that
a
actually
yeah.
entirely depends on where you are. Hold
Yeah.
on, I'm gonna fucking get real debatey about this. There's so many different types of corn, and the problem is
There
that in America, the vast
is.
majority of what's grown is
Yes.
sweet corn, which is a high
Yeah.
fructose thing.
That's the only kind of
where
corn
a
I've
lot of corn
had.
syrup comes
Yeah.
from. It's called high fructose corn syrup because it's specifically grown for its fructose content, right? A lot of the corn in America is super fucking unhealthy for you.
Yeah.
But in different areas, depending on what the different types you're getting, if it's not like a sweet corn, if you're getting more like heritage corns or like shit from farmers, that shit is deeply fucking nourishing for you.
Mm.
And also, like, I make sure to avoid pretty much everything with high fructose corn syrup in my can. The only things I really fuck with that
Good
will
luck.
wind up with that in it is like candy. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I live in Canada, right? This not as saturated here as it is in America. So like I
you have more
specifically look
restrictions.
I only drink, well, no, not necessarily. I know what sodas it's in. It's in Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, all of those main brand ones that are using HFC, right? But I specifically look for ones that are either zero sugar, like if I'm drinking energy drink, I'm always getting zero sugar from like
Yeah.
Alai New. It's a new company, it's cool. Or like if I'm drinking a soda, I get cane sugar ones and I check the sugar count on it. If you're getting like Jones Soda or Pop Shop, and I know y'all got Jones in the States, don't you?
Yeah, we got Jones. Yeah, I've seen Jones sodas.
Yeah,
here.
Jones is cane sugar, and it's like 30 odd grams per bottle, which is like actually fuck all in comparison to a lot of
Yeah.
other stuff. That's like 2 spoonsful of sugar. That's like people will have more sugar than that in their fucking tea, right? If you were to drink one Jones soda a day as opposed to like a Coca-Cola, you are cutting your sugar fucking back because
Like
there's
in
a lot of
half.
stuff that just have way more than you need in it. And it's going to be cane sugar, which is better for your body to process than HFC, right?
Yeah.
So corn can be really bad for you if you're getting sweet corn and you have a high fructose corn syrup saturated diet. But at the same time, if you're getting like heritage corn, oh my god,
I've never had that kind of corn. I kind of want to get some and try it. I bought this grilling set, and it comes with little corn cob holders. I've just been really wanting to get my hands on some. You know, it was hilarious last night. Corn is a theme.
I've had heritage corn, but I've definitely
corn is a theme.
had corn
I
that's
saw
not the sweet corn.
On GoPuff last night. They were selling. You could buy a single ear of corn for 79 cents on GoPuff. I was like, what if I just GoPuffed like a single ear of corn to grill?
Also, just saying. Also, if you're gonna grill it, blanch it first. That's the hot tip. Grilled corn is great. You always want to blanch first. Yeah, don't mind me, casual corn expert over here, I guess.
Maybe I'll start growing some corn. That could be fun.
Yeah, try and find like a heritage seed. There's people who like sell it online, or you can find stuff that's just straight up not sweet corn. It'll taste more like a little bit more savory, I guess. I don't know how to really describe it because like the corn I get out here isn't like super duper sweet or anything, right?
Yeah, because like I only know sweet corn. That's really the only kind of corn I've ever had. I've never had any different types. Like different types.
You can purchase white corn.
I think I've had white corn.
Yeah, white corn is not as, it doesn't have the, it's not bred to be sweet. It's not sweet corn. It's called white corn, and it's white. And you can also,
I think there's blue corn too.
There's also blue corn. Yep, exactly. The thing with corn is very difficult to grow.
We should have a corn.
Yeah, but also
corn grilling party.
Corn is difficult to grow because it depletes the nitrogen out of the soil. However, if you grow it in combination, corn, beans, squash, it does not deplete any of the nutrients in the soil, and they work with each other.
I like all three of those things. So that sounds like something I could do.
So the corn provides a stalk that the beans can trellis up. The beans have ribosomes in their roots that provide nitrogen to the soil directly, which mitigates the nutrient depletion issues. And then squash comes along and provides wide leaves that give shade for the roots so that they don't scorch in the sun, and they all work really fucking well together. So learning to grow like natural food systems. Sorry, I'm fucking with my camera right now. My phone is low battery. But learning to grow food systems like in harmony is a really, really game-changing sort of deal, right? Because corn is hard to grow because people monocrop it and nutrient deplete the shit out of the soil, and it's not a good practice. It's actually extremely devastating. But when you grow in a non-invasive, non-road way, like you just kind of plant it in a spot, right? You just put the three together and they'll like kind of spring up there from everything I've read. You'd have to look at what order to plant them in, because like I've only read about it. I haven't like, planted them or anything. I would love to one day. I just don't have the space yet to be able to do that. I plan to one day though. I'm like planning a whole fucking herb garden. I want to have like a little part of the episode where I go off about Prunella vulgaris and the experience I had with it last week. But like, yeah, I think you have to plant the corn first and let the beans trellis up it and then put the squash down after, but I'm not sure. You would have to look into it.
Did you plant anything this season, Scott?
No, unfortunately, things are just a little too crazy around here at the moment. Just with the house is kind of like in a huge state of flux. Like we're trying to get things together. The good thing is that we're taking our time throughout this summer to get out in the yard slowly but surely to make to actually clean it up. We have like we have a cleaner for the yard. We have like all sorts of stuff. We found a really nice backyard set. That comes with like a love seat and 2 chairs and a nice table. I'm gonna get an outdoor a nice outdoor rug. I was looking at Ruggable, but they're a little expensive right now. But maybe for the future, just like a little area rug. We do also want to get. We need a plumber for the pipe back there for our water, for like watering. As much as we like it, if we didn't have to worry about running down the basement, turning on and off the water because our pipe is broken outside and stuff, it's kind of a hassle.
Yeah.
So we have to get a plumber to fix that pipe
Hold
out
on,
there so we can
one
access the
second.
water in the.
What's up, Rue? I see Rue waving. Hello.
Oh, hello. Yes,
I'm
in the chat where we have a new watcher, Daniel. And Daniel is Muslim and just asked, "Can I be Muslim and a witch?" And I was gonna answer it just in chat, but I figured I would actually post it to the. I know we're not particularly experts on the topic, but I'm sure I just wanted to post it to the group.
So here's what I'm going to say on this. Anybody can technically be a witch or magical practitioner based on actions that you undertake. I don't think that there's anybody who is explicitly barred in any way from learning the stuff in like a sense of being able to enact it. Because I don't think of magic as just like a tradition that you're doing. It's like something that you're actually creating that makes a change, even if it's internal, and we often overplay or underplay the importance of internal change when it's often one of the most important things. But as far if you can be a witch in a religion, that's an interesting question that I don't know if any of us have the answer for, unless we specifically have experience with like Islam, because I don't know what the religion says. Like, for example, if you're Christian and you are Catholic, for example, because like I was raised Catholic by my mom. If you are Catholic and you're practicing witchcraft and they find out about it, you get excommunicated and become an apostate, right? So you could technically be doing witchcraft while in the faith of Catholicism, but also if people find out, they'll probably disavow you in that specific instance. So it would be more based on what's going on in your faith specifically, which you'd probably have a better answer to than I.
If I may interject here just a little bit. Now, I'm not an expert on this,
Please.
but I do find the history of Arabic magic to be fascinating. I do have a book here called Magick in Islam by Michael Mohammed Knight. It's a decent book.
Ooh,
you want to pop that in the
that
chat,
long.
Rue?
I was just gonna say,
I'll go in.
Yeah, just copy it in the chat, and I will put it in the chat for our lovely viewer.
I
Yeah.
I actually have.
Oh,
One
Brian's
second.
here too. Hey, Brian. Mr. Brian.
Oh, you have the chat open too, Scott? You're wonderful.
I
Yeah.
did, and then
Look at us
it
being
was distracting
professional.
me because it was like slow. It was like kind of behind us, and it started distracting me. But 1 second, I could get there in 2 seconds. But what was I saying? There's also an occultist
Mm.
who he himself actually has a book out
Mm.
about Islamic magic.
Mm.
Now the thing is that he's not like well respected because
Mm.
from my understanding it is called haram
Mm.
in Islam to practice magic. It's not necessarily looked upon favorably.
Most organized religions say witches are bad. You know what I mean? Like magic and witches are bad. Like don't practice witchcraft. You know, like most of them
It
have some
depends,
sort
but
of thing
often
that
yes.
says, yeah, most of them have some sort of thing. Even if we're talking like in the old Nordic Viking pagan, like to be a witch, like it was still like you were bad. You were doing the bad kind of, magic. So like being a witch always had this sort of air.
Not to like spoiler acolyte for anyone, but yeah, that kind of situation.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott, you were saying.
Oh,
No, Michael Muhammad magic. Sorry, I'm typing it out
Looking
in
for
the
the
chat.
book. Ah.
I actually
okay.
have
There
the
you
book
go.
right here. I went to my bookshelf as soon as I got the question. I was like, go to my bookshelf, and I ran for it. I also am trying.
That's
You
exactly
have a book for
God,
everything.
so prepared.
Book for everything.
You really do.
I'm trying to find the other occultist. He has a grimoire out that's super amazing. Just to look at. I don't practice it. It's not really my place, but
But you like to read.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's like about his book is particularly about like the conjuration of jinn.
Mm.
Mhm.
But he himself is like really
Also,
cool. I've seen him talking to like other occultists and stuff online, and he seems like really knowledgeable and down to earth, and kind of like he understands like the kind of the mantle he's taken up as like an occultist and someone of the Islamic faith.
Islamic. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I was sneezing. Holy. And that sneezed so hard I forgot what I was gonna say.
Blew your brains out.
when that happens.
Sneezed your brains out.
Fucking just sneezed it right on my fucking head. Yep. Oh.
Oh, see,
Oh well.
here's something interesting. I just found this isn't the one yet, but I'll make sure to have all my I'll do a big research for Daniel. Was it?
It might be pronounced Daniel. It's
How was
spelled Danial. So, I think it's pronounced Daniel. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You have any
So what I was
references?
gonna say is I actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just reading here in the chat. Do you have any references in Muslim by? How many references in Muslim? We can promote and normalize homosexuality in religion.
That's a heavy question.
I believe there are progressive Muslim, Islamic and Muslim groups out there. Like I'm pretty sure there are out there that are, that there are progressive groups of them. As to where they are, I don't know. But we could do some research.
It's
Also, it
when I
depends
tell
where
you
you
guys
are in the world. I'm not sure if you are in like a country of where like Islam is like the main religion, or if you're here in the U.S. or in Canada. I'm not really sure where you are.
when I say I've taken an interest in a lot of I just have like these whims, and I get very interested in topics, and
Yeah.
homosexuality in the Islamic world is something that I've found really interesting
It
because
was
it's
a troll.
Oh, it's a troll.
Yeah, they're or a bot. All their messages are getting deleted now.
Oh, okay. Turkey.
okay.
Well, or maybe not.
I
I
like
don't know.
how they like came in trying to troll, and then Scott was like, "I got information." It may not be
Well, I
correct,
don't.
who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to
You
tell. But
don't know.
hopefully
Wow.
we
Yeah.
I
provided
was
some.
excited.
I guess if you're not a troll, say you're not a troll. That's the only way to prove that you're not a bot. Sorry. um,
So what I was gonna say actually is there is something to really be said about reading up on religions or practices that you don't
but their
work. Like
messages
I have
could be
read
getting
a
hold
little
on, I
bit
just thought
about
of something. Their message, if they are actually in Turkey, their messages could be getting deleted because of where they're trying to access this stream from.
Yeah, no, 100%,
No.
100%.
Yeah.
who knows. Um,
Okay.
but there's something to be said about studying a practice
Mm.
that's not yours. Just
Mm.
like studying a culture that's not yours. Because how else are you going to understand their experience? Like you're obviously not
Exactly.
going to go and like try and get initiation level understanding, right? Like that would be obviously crossing a line. But understanding like what that practitioner might go through because of like cultural biases that are often levied against them, as like for example with people who practice voodoo, it's often seen as very adversarial and dark, but that's also a reflection of the fact that a lot of these people had to use it to survive under a very racist place that was actively trying to kill them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it gets that kind of cultural stigma associated with it, and I learn about that by reading stuff about that practice, right? I'm not trying to become a voodoo in no way, shape, or form. Not for me, not doing it, thanks. But knowing what they go through makes me just a more kind and understanding human being, and also somebody who can then reference stuff to other people who are trying to get involved. Like I can't tell you how many times reading about random cultural practices has led to someone being like, "Oh, I don't know where to start," and I'm like, "Oh, have you looked into Obia?" And they're like, "What?" you know. So
Yeah.
you never know. Should just you meet people and they're like, not that I've actually ever referenced opiate to someone. That's just like
Mm-hmm.
another thing that popped off the top of my head, right? But often people won't necessarily know what their cultural practices are. One I did reference was like some Irish practice to a friend that was like Sean Cial spell circles along those
I
lines.
remember. I think I still have that bookmarked somewhere. That was an interesting read through
I
their stuff.
recommended that to several people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Really,
But
really, I
absolutely.
really wish I could tell if
There's
this person was a bot. I'm so annoyed by that part of the internet. You know.
No,
We will let
I take
that water pass under the bridge.
What do you
yeah,
think,
I
Ro?
was seriously I take back any I was just it was weird that all of a sudden their messages were getting removed, but then literally they posted that they were in Turkey and it made absolute sense.
Right.
I was just doing some quick research when it comes
Yeah.
to LGBT rights in being in Turkey, and Turkey is one of the better Muslim majority
Countries. Yeah.
populated states to be LGBT in, but you can still be harassed on the streets. It is not a crime, but if people want to get morality high horse kind of thing,
No one's
then it
gonna
can
stop
become,
them.
yeah, it is not legal to be married there. And the funny thing is there's compulsory military service for Turkey citizens. But if you are
Compulsatory.
Mm.
compulsory, thank you. But if you are gay, you cannot serve in the military. So that can lead to some issues.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
there
but they were also posting, it's very normal in religion. I've heard of priests in the past that were homosexuals, and obviously you're gonna hear stories like that um, across all religions.
Also,
And
queer people used to just hold positions of spiritual leadership, guidance,
exactly, we talk about
direction.
that. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, Daniel, that you can find resources depending on where you are in Turkey. There are gay clubs and there are LGBTQ organizations that are fighting for your rights over there. So I don't know how easily accessible Google is to you. I don't even know if you can access Discord over there.
Mm.
But a Google, you do have rights and you do have protections there, and it can
Yeah,
be
and if
found through some method.
yeah, and if you can access Discord, we have a Discord server. If you follow, if you can access our website and whatnot, there's links to everything in there. If you hop in the Discord, we might have some people in our tiny community that might be able to point you into, some right
I was going to say,
directions
yep,
where to go.
excellent, babe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I feel like I'm gonna try not to
You've been
cry
so
this
emotional.
episode. I am so emotional, people.
You keep
I will be
smacking your microphone.
terrible. I'm Italian Jew that talks with my hands and also talks very loud and is learning about volume control. Scott knows what's up.
Don't max
I
that
love
game
you.
bar out. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Exactly. But no, it has been a very emotional day. I'm open. This podcast is the only thing I'm open. Like I am we're pretty damn sure I'm going through peri. For those of you who don't know, you don't need to know. And it's just terrible. And also having like depression and all these other mental illnesses on top of it is just not good. And the whole like ticking biological time clock thing. And I saw my cousin's babies yesterday, and I kind of just wanted to kidnap them and just take them home with me. And it's hitting very, very hard. And then it was funny we're talking about that at the beginning of the podcast. I also wanted to circle back to the beginning of the podcast. My cousin Becky literally was like, if my therapist doesn't get off me about smoking weed, I'm just gonna get another therapist. I just
Yeah.
wanted to circle back to that.
I
But I've been on the verge of tears all while, so I'll probably cry during this episode.
I cried this morning too. I was all mushy and stuff.
Well, it's your
Because
season.
I was gonna say it's cancer season. Because
Exactly. It's cancer season.
I was crying because some of my favorite YouTubers, they're called the Steps of Two Foreigners. They're a gay couple that like do these really beautiful somatic like long vlogs on YouTube, and they unfortunately just lost their puppy. That was pretty much like their kid, and I was really sad, and they were like really grieving and like hurting and stuff, and it made me sad. But it was funny because I was actually thinking about like um what it's like to be a witness for someone to their pain, to like those ancient historical there was a really old job in the ancient world of like crying at like funerals. They would have people come and they would
Professional
wail, and
mourners.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an ancient
Want that
profession.
job.
It's a
That's
very
my dream job.
it's an ancient profession. It's a sacred thing where you witness, you're a witness to grief and
I could do it.
ache and pain. And it was interesting because I was like, this is funny that on the last day, I felt in some small way like a witness, like witnessing to queer hurt and sadness. It was just something I was thinking about while I was watching this video, kind of just being there to, not obviously not saying anything to these strangers, but to watch them pour their hearts out to just, to bear that for a few moments, I was just thinking about how important that is to be there for all of us to be there for each other. I know I've said it on this podcast before, but I one time watched a pretty sad documentary, but one of our queer elders on it, she's from New York, trans woman from New York, she said all queer people are family without asking.
I
And
feel
it is
that.
not, and yeah, it's not about outside of our shortcomings, outside of our weird social bullshit and all that other catty nonsense that we have going on in our community. In the end, the people that we know for certain we can trust, and this is not me coming at our cishet peers, but in the end, we know for certain that we could trust each other.
Yeah.
Or at least we definitely should be able to. And
I
that's
would
what
agree.
I've
Yeah.
that's kind of what I've been thinking about all day, is it being the last day of Pride. And I kind of don't want it to end. I don't know what it is about this year. I normally don't think about it like that, but I think it's because of everything going on, and then like, being on vacation, and then I woke up to that horrible debate, and I was like,
Haven't watched it. Also,
either.
speaking of
Just
the
listen.
date, big happy birthday to my mommy today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, she's a young, and she wouldn't mind. She's a young 56, and I'm so happy my mom is young. And I've gotten to spend so much time with my mom, and she's awesome. And I know she pops in and watches the stream from time to time. So I love my mom, and she's awesome. And the the other reason I was about to cry is because my goddamn father triggered me right before we went into this episode. He literally sent a picture of me as a child sitting on his lap as him dressed as Santa. That's all I gotta say. And I was like, oh, knock the wind out of my lungs right before recording. Why don't we?
I get it.
Hmm.
So basically, cancer season shenanigans.
Cancer season shenanigans, exactly. Why would my dad text me on my mom's birthday? Were you going to text her a happy birthday? Were you trying to get back together after 30 years?
Maybe that's
It's
what
very
it was.
Cancerian for our season to be like, you're all going to feel how we feel 24/7, 365 days. You're going to feel all of the feelings.
Like, happy Sunday. I hope you cried today. Have you cried? Have you felt your feelings? Do you want to feel your feelings? No, not my feelings.
Or my other favorite Cancerian trait is, how could you do this to me? Everything I've done for you and you betray me? That's a big Cancerian thing.
Oh,
Being
that's not just a
betrayed.
mom thing? That's just a Cancer thing?
Well,
I
you
thought that
want to know
was
what's
just
funny is that Cancer is represented as the mother of the zodiac.
hilarious. So
We
it
are
is
the
a mom.
mother, so we take on those mother-like qualities that, you know.
Who's best? Oh, I just triggered the whole internet.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I did. By the way, I mean, not to go back to it, but I did find that Jinn sorcery grimoire I was looking for.
Oh,
it's by Scarlet Imprint. Scarlet Imprint. They're an occult publisher. It's literally just called Jinn Sorcery by Rain Al Alim. It's a compilation of Jinn conjurations and rituals translated from rare Arabic manuscripts in the author's private collection.
Ooh.
Yep, and you can get the paperback on Scarlet Imprint for, I don't know what the conversion is for, like £17 to American, but
all I can think is like if my private occult writings collection was ever currently published right now, it would just be a manic collection of scribbles and weird fucking diagrams and half complete thoughts. And
in all fairness, I'm like, I have like right in front of me as we were talking, I was looking at the Book of Grimoires by Claude Luteau, Dr. Claude Luteau. I like to put credit to his name. I'm looking at a spell to avoid scandal and discord.
Ooh.
And it says so Psalm 17. If you wish to avoid scandal and discord, write this psalm on a piece of virgin parchment up to, I'm still looking for the part that you're supposed to stop at. Animam meum ab impis. So I'm looking for where that, like, I have to like look at the translation to see where it ends. And then accompanied by these characters, which are at the bottom here, and then it says fumigate the parchment with mastic and carry them on your person. Yeah. So I get it. Like, we all just like have weird weird shit.
I've been getting pushed a lot of like Catholic like folk magic and stuff, and I'm like, I'm kind of like, me personally, no offense to anyone else, you know, I know a lot of people at your practice, but I'm like, it's just not my thing, but it just keeps getting pushed to me, and I'm just like, I don't want to see it. It's everywhere for me right now. So when you're like, get a psalm, and I was like, oh yeah, get a psalm and get a thing.
You know what it is too, is that
psalm
like,
and a candle.
You know what it is? I think like for people like me, I think even Brian and stuff, like, I don't know if Brian can attest to this, but I know at least I can. It took me years to be able to like
be comfortable,
accept that stuff. Like, I used to blatantly reject it all because I was like, I can't feel anything. I've tried it. I was like, man, it would you know, confirm my bias, you know, that like it didn't have any oomph, you know. And once I let go and I renounced my baptism and I did all that stuff, I felt a lot better about it. I understood it in the way that an animist would understand it, and that's how I proceed with it. I mean, I'm 100% like an idolater. Like, I worship saints. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it, you know, like, yeah, that's fine. You know, I don't really care about that.
Yeah, and I kind of took your advice because I did that unbaptism rite as well. I actually did it twice because I was baptized twice. And I did feel better. So I thought that I would become more comfortable with like Catholic folk magic. I thought that I would maybe, get more into it. And then I was kind of trying to I had like a Saint Michael, like I was trying to like work with Saint Michael. And what the hell else was and I was trying to do I was really working on the LBRP, right? Since that's all related to like those saints and the archangels and stuff. And the more I was like working hard, and I was like, this feels forced. This feels like a really forced kind of like relationship that I'm like trying to build. You know what I mean? So and it was kind of this like feeling. I was like, I'm good. Like you guys are there. You work for whatever group of people uses that kind of magic, and that's fine. What's going on in the chat over here? Oh, Chris is here in the chat.
Yeah.
Is it true that people attracted to the dark and Satan are more likely to be a witch? It's kind of a loaded question. Like, I was a kid who was very attracted to dark and spooky things. I definitely had my satanic era. I would say correlation does not equal causation. You know what I mean? Like, I think that people that tend to be more drawn to the dark. What were you saying, Sophia? You're kind of like saying along the same vein, like people
I just said yes.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So I thought, yeah, I didn't want to cut you off. But yeah. So like, people, I have found that there tends to be a correlation between people who are attracted to darker things tend to identify as witches or some sort of occultist. Tend to be.
I feel like it depends, really. Like, there's some airy, fairy, fucking new age people who do the exact same shit as witches, but just won't call themselves witches. I think we subdivide a lot into arbitrary categorizations that kind of take us away from the practice of doing it itself. Like, if you're doing the thing, you're doing the thing. The more I get into my practice, the more I try. The longer I practice, the more I realize I want to eschew labels because they're not always entirely useful. Like, they're useful in the way that you're trying to find information and like what's the word I'm like when you're trying to find information and connect with stuff and like learn, then like yeah, those labels are really important, right?
Yeah.
Or like if you're trying to do specific path work and find specific shit, that can be very useful. But like past a certain point, labeling yourself as something doesn't intrinsically increase the efficacy of your practice. In fact, sometimes it can get away from it, right? I find the more that I practice, the less labels I want. It's like, I'll give you a really good example. I played Destiny a lot. I played Trials of Osiris, which is the most competitive fucking gaming mode in there. It's harder than comp, and I play comp, and I will go straight to gold 3 and win like 6 or 7 out of my placement matches. Like I play a lot of fucking PvP. When I go into this shit, I notice I actively do worse the fancier I dress. The more I put like bells and titles on, the more I'm fucking up for some reason. And the more that I strip away, like I literally make my guardian look like she's fresh out of the grave with torn up armor, with no cape, with like literal fucking shreds and ropes and just like gray camouflage. And my title is Risen, which makes it look like you just came out of the grave. And I use Kavastov, which is like the first fucking gun you get. Granted, it's the exotic version, but it looks identical to the one that came out of the grave. So I literally look like I just rose out of the dirt and I don't give a fuck about titles. And I run straight into there in PvP and just absolutely play like a menace, right? And I'm not trying to put myself on as a good player. My skill can speak entirely for itself, and those dressings are not going to do anything better for me. The only dressings I actually need are the dressings that tie into my kit, like Kavastov, like Beloved, and like the other half. If you know Destiny stuff, you know that I just listed an extremely competitive PvP set, right? So I don't need the dressings. I need the tools, and that's kind of what I like my practice to reflect as well.
Yeah.
Because I don't like being distracted from doing the practice itself. I'd rather be doing the thing.
I've been unpacking like the first floor of our house is pretty much situated. It's now the basement that I'm tackling, like after we've moved in. And I have all the shop stuff, my personal witch stuff, like everything is fucking down there. We finally ordered a shed so I can finally migrate some of that stuff out of there. But when I was working on a lot
We're such
yesterday,
adults.
I know. I was like, but we have to build it ourselves. I'm not that rich. I've discovered. I'm like,
I love projects. It's
I'm
fun.
rich enough to get a shed, but I'm not rich enough to have someone install it and build it. So, damn it.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
And you gotta pay people in beer or weed.
Yeah, the good thing is
Or
I have
or
a
pizza.
lot of handy people in my life that I can call. It's one thing I've done is I've built a lot of connections in my life, and I have a lot of favors that I've given out, and I have a lot of favors I can call in. I can be like, guys, I need to build a shed, and I think we'll have a good
Mutual
time.
aid is like the lifeblood of an anarchist. You can
It
tell
is.
somebody's an anarchist from how much they mention mutual aid, volunteering, and support networks. Like, mwah, chef's kiss. Like, honest to God, when people don't know anything about anarchism, they think, "Well, you just want violence. You want to be throwing meltdowns in the street." Well, yeah, but specifically at corrupt politicians' houses, not in the street, because the street is often, got kids in it. We don't want broken glass there. We want the mansions of the bastards destroying society to burn. And then we want to actually make rules that we all collectively agree to, where we work with each other to make the world a better place.
I really I know we've like in the past when you've talked about DKMU as it's like this pirate port for occultists, and I have always loved pirates, like like this like sort of like the Pirates of the Caribbean type pirates, like pirates for the sake of adventure, not pirates for the sake of actually like stealing from people and pillaging, like not that kind of shit. Pirating for adventure, look for lost treasure kind of thing, and the way that it's been helping me visualize this house is like a ship. It's like like we're sailing the seas of life, and like literally, like all of a sudden, like it was when Scott and Darian came over. We weren't able to go camping because we sprung a leak in the upper decks, and we we sprung a leak, and so yeah, we sprung a leak up there, and then we couldn't go camping, so we had Scott and Darian come over the next day, and we cooked up all the food that we were going to take camping with us. And then it started pouring out of nowhere. We got this like random, like super soaker rain thunderstorm thing in the middle of the day randomly. And the only thing on my mind as I was watching that water come down, I was like, oh god, I hope we're not taking on water, like down in the basement. Like I'm really thinking about this house like a ship, like I'm the fucking captain of a ship. Yeah, it's been helping me rationalize because having this is like stressful. But also cool, but also stressful.
Yeah.
Your camera's very good quality, Sophia.
That's my phone.
Yeah, it's a good quality. It's pretty damn good. I'm impressed with technology.
Yeah, webcams kind of suck dick. Not that sucking dick's a bad thing. In fact, it's kind of like my favorite thing. But like, whatever.
All the cool kids are doing.
Just saying, I suck dick like a fiend. It is Pride Month. I am down to mention that. Just saying. Anyways, I wanted to mention how fucking much Prunella vulgaris rules. It's in the mint family, and it's like a square-stemmed. It's a square-stemmed mint plant that has like these little flowering tops that look very similar to French lavender, but also they don't flower in the same way and they don't smell the same way. I'd read about them in that book that I keep putting on. Oh, hang on a second. Hey, pal, are you still on? I've got a message from my roommate.
I see in the chat here we have Jerry. It's good to see people helping each other. There's no better magic. I fucking agree, Jerry. I 1000% agree. Also, I don't recognize your name unless you're a different name somewhere else, but hello, welcome. But I agree, there is no better magic than helping people out. Like Sophia was saying, like mutual aid is like fucking everything. And that's really like kind of like it's like sort of my view now is just like the systems that be have failed us collectively, and so it's just like we got to take
Mhm.
care of our own. We just got to take care of ourselves. Build networks with your fucking neighbors, as fucking Looney Tunes as some of them might be. Some of my neighbors are fucking nuts. But you work with what you have.
Yeah. But as I was saying, because I responded to that message really quick, Prunella vulgaris, I was describing it. You can Google it. If you want to know how to spell it, it's Prunella, vulgaris. You'll find it from that. I learned about it in the book, Plants Have So Much to Give Us, All We Have to Do Is Ask, the one that I posted like everywhere in the Discord on purpose.
Yeah, you were mentioning that last time.
Yeah, it's a plant that was extremely interesting when I learned about it because it's the one that has the ability to draw things out of the skin, right? And I work in like film and sometimes in really dirty environments, especially if you're moving like traffic cones around, because those things are like some of the dirtiest and most infectious things in existence. I swear to God, right? And my hands were starting to get infected from just like surface level cuts that weren't an issue before. So I was like, fuck, I need to find some prunella. And I went for a walk around in a field and I couldn't find it, which really sucked. But then it worked the next day. I found it like just all over a lawn, like it had completely taken over the lawn because it's quite a smart plant and it knows that like sometimes certain areas will get cut down or get mowed or get eaten down. So if it's getting mowed consistently, it trellises along the ground and grows horizontally rather than vertical. It's a really clever plant. It likes to exist where it needs to. So like I literally found Prunella vulgaris on this lawn on the second day. And I chopped it up with a fucking X-Acto knife that I have on a goddamn stone countertop in a hotel, right? I made like a fine little Bernois out of it.
That's the way to do it.
And then I applied it to my fingers. And get this, the only finger that wasn't better in the morning was the one where the bandage I applied sucked and actually came off in the middle of the night. All the other ones, the infection was completely drawn out by the end of the night, and my hand was better the next day. But even the one where it only was on for half the night, it looked a little rough and it wasn't perfect. But then like as I worked throughout the day, I noticed actually most of the infection had come out and my body was able to just like deal with the rest really easily. And it just like recovered very quickly after that. And I didn't even have to put a second treatment onto it. So like I'm telling y'all, Prunella vulgaris absolutely fucks, and you should learn to identify it and cultivate it and keep it around because it's an important fucking plant. Let me put this in comparison. I injure myself all the goddamn time, right? I use polysporin and medical ointments all the goddamn time. I am a certified first aid attendant with the St. John's ambulance, and I have done first aid attendant at work probably since I was like 23. And that was in like construction sites and like warehouses and now in film. I'm like not necessarily a medic because set medic's entirely different, but in the locations department you have to have your first aid because if you don't have a set medic and you're prepping something out, you need to be the person to administer first aid to yourself or to other people, right? So I have like unofficial med kits, like my own stuff in my car and with me all the time, and I treat all my own wounds, right? And I'm telling you, nothing fucking dealt with infections in my hands ever as efficiently and as easily as Prunella vulgaris did. Plant medicine seriously fucks.
It's like magic. It is kind of funny, like when you realize, like, wow, all these complicated, newfangled products that we have for things that we have very simple solutions for already in place.
Modern society is basically built off of repackaging you the same thing and selling it to you. Like I had a conversation. I've also been like kind of on my discourse lately. Like I was talking
all
to
these
people at
different
work
canned
about like
water
the need
companies.
for revolution. Yeah, and I was talking about the need for revolution because people are always like complaining about how the government doesn't care about us, which is so accurate and so true, right?
Yeah.
Then they're like, well, what are we going to do? We need them. And I hit this guy with like, no, we don't. We pick the food. We grow the food. We transport the food. We cook the food.
And then they tell us what to do with it.
And they
say, give it all to us.
Chain, right?
Yeah.
And I told him, money doesn't grow on trees, but food sure fucking does. And that tree don't ask you to pay $1 to pick it, right? All you got to do is be reciprocal and actually put in the effort. And like, y'all, I guarantee you it takes less effort to pick fucking food off trees than it does to slave away in a factory, because I've fucking done both. And the food picking's real gentle, let me tell you. The only problem is that some bastard came along and stole the land and fucking paid for it and demanded that the food coming off it's going to them. Because this is the grift since the dawn of fucking time, okay?
It's
To make a
literally
king, to make
the
an
movie
empire, you need two things.
Bug's
Food and
Life.
land, okay? Because people got to live somewhere and people got to eat. You fucking alleviate those two things, you make it so that people can live off the land and they can feed themselves, and they no longer have a reason for a system other than, like, say, advanced medical care or technology that they find like novel or useful. But actually, when you find out how little we need that shit, revolution becomes as simple as making people realize they can feed themselves and their families without making a fucking man rich and having to like rely on him for their very existence. You know what I mean? Like, you can take your power back, and it
Like,
is
that's what I
not
would,
as hard as we think it is.
you know, like, has everyone here seen the movie V for Vendetta? Have you
Of
seen
course.
this? Okay, so everyone's seen.
Yes.
Okay, the scene in the movie, like, where he orchestrates like every house in Britain or in London or wherever it is. I think it's just the city of London. Yeah, so every house in London gets the mask and the the get up, right?
Sure.
It would be amazing to orchestrate every house in do this in your cities, in your neighborhoods, whatever. Every house in, let's just say,
If I
Philadelphia.
may,
November 5th, which is the
I have
anniversary
a
of my
different
grandmother
idea.
passing.
If I may, I have a completely different idea. Fuck that. I realize that revolution is as simple as one thing: feed the people. That
Yeah,
is
that's
it.
what I was gonna
Okay.
say.
Okay.
Send
Because like
every house
when
in the city grow your own food kit. Like,
okay, I thought you were gonna
with
say, because you were saying
instructions.
with the masks, I was like, no way, we don't need those masks.
No, no,
We
no, no,
just need
no.
to feed people.
Right, and that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
you
Like,
get it.
how he orchestrates that. Like, it would be so amazing that on one single day, all like that would be like the impact of that. Like, all of a sudden, like within these 2-3 days, all of these people in the city of Philadelphia have received this ability to. They have a It's like a
Mhm.
whole box, and you can grow food in it. And wow, it's so simple. It's really just that easy. Yes,
Mhm.
it can be.
Revolution is as simple as feeding the people, and then the
Mm-hmm.
people coming away from that system and to that network that actually empowers them. And it's as simple as that. Because if they don't control where you eat, where you drink, and where you sleep, what do they really control about you?
Right.
What do you
What do they
need to
control?
get with your money other than those things fundamentally? You may say things like transportation and clothing as if you can't get those through exchange in those mutual aid networks to begin with, right? Like, we already make all the clothing. We already harvest all the materials to make all the clothing. They ain't doing shit. It's our hands that do it already, right? We have literally everything we need. We have the seamstresses, the farmers, the carpenters. We have the plumbers, the
We just need to form
electricians, the
those networks of
engineers.
support.
We just need to come together and start divesting from the system that demands allegiance to it because they've bought the fucking land. Because it all comes back to one fucking thing: land theft, treaty violations, and land back. And that's why
Mhm.
land back is such a fucking flashpoint issue. And that's why they want to fucking mislead people so much on what it is. Because when people realize they don't need to be paying corporations to exist and they can have their fucking debt absolved and just exist because, like, the indigenous people who had the land stolen from them aren't going to fucking get them off of it. Like, it suddenly becomes like the number one threat to national security because you're not raising a gun to do this shit. Violence is something they can fight back against. They can sequester you and absolutely annihilate you in your sleep without fucking any amount of retribution if you come with the rhetoric of violence. But if you come with the I'm going to feed people to change the world, they can kill you. They certainly can, but they're not going to be able to justify it. And people in your network are going to see that for what it is: an assassination of somebody who was there feeding people. You weren't out there carrying guns and putting on vests and walking around like these proud boys. You were out there feeding the people who are starving. And if they want to put a bullet in your head for that, or from in my head for that, then that's a fucking worthy death, and I'd be happy to take that. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
want to kill me for wanting to feed the people of the world, I will die right fucking here, right now. Put it in my face, right? I don't care. Like, there has to be certain things that we stand hard on and don't back down on. And I really think that starting with like mutual aid and feeding each other and like divesting in every single way that we can from that system that dehumanizes us and pits us against each other is the fucking play.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. So we've been going on for a little bit over an hour. We've been kind of, I don't know, all over the place topically on here, but I think it's been a good conversation so
Yeah.
far. We've had like up to like 7 viewers was like our max. That was pretty cool. We're
Did I
inching
chase them off
closer.
with my anarchism talk?
No worries. I'm not really sure what's up with Daniel because now their messages are gone, so I'm not sure if they were an actual person. They were posting a little bit of some odd things toward the end there, or if they were a bot. But if you were a person,
You never know.
I hope that book is a good resource for you. I hope you're able to. And if you're a bot, well, I don't know. That's the internet. But Jerry, it was good to see you in the chat. You're another new name that I have not seen before. And Chris, or you're Chris on here. You're Kai in Discord. Kai. Good to see you here as well. Any concluding thoughts from us here today?
Divest.
Oh, and
Go ahead, Scott.
no, I was also gonna say, remember to take care of yourselves and to,
Get swole.
healthy is what you focus on. You don't have to focus on like, however you feel you can be active or something, whatever you can do, because weight loss isn't everyone's goal, and that's okay. Yeah. Try to just take care of yourselves, both mentally and physically and spiritually. It tends to take, sort of the whole thing makes you a whole person,
Mm-hmm.
Taking care of all three of those things tends
As
to,
best you can.
yeah.
We must always never forget to free Palestine, thanks to our $6.66 donor on Ko-fi. And that is a message that we always spread, always.
Free Palestine and end war. Free Palestine and end war.
I will.
Exactly.
I will throw in, cops aren't at Pride to protect us. They're there to make sure we don't get out of line.
Mm-hmm.
No cops at Pride.
Remember that.
No cops at Pride.
Also, one last thing. Remember, when you're voting in 2024, you're not picking who you like. You're choosing your opposition. No politician will ever make your life better or truly give you the freedoms you want. You're choosing the ones that you're more able to fight against.
You see John Fetterman, the most. He was all like, "Fucking weed, fucking weed, and all this shit. I'm gonna be so awesome and super progressive." And then he became TikTok famous, and he's like, "I'm kind of a conservative. Hurdy dirty dur. My wife is really hot. Something something. Look at me on TikTok." What a douche.
Boy, we cannot take on John Fetterman. I cannot. Like, I could beat the shit out of like Brendan Boyle, like if you wanted to be councilman, but can't take on Fetterman. But yeah, excellent point. Pick your opponent. You can beat the shit out of both of them, but you're gonna have an easier time beating the shit out of probably.
Well,
Fetterman can't drive.
You're not gonna beat Project 2025, is what I'm gonna say. The
only
way to beat that one is to nip that fucker in the bud. Nip that fucker in the bud. Just saying.
Fuck that.
Pull it in the root. Don't let it fucking grow. Just saying.
Alrighty. We're gonna head out of here. Some things to think about. It's a lot of things, but that's what we do here. Alright, everyone. We will see you in the next one. Bye.
Adios.
Get radical.
Bye, everybody.